All right. Okay, officially recording. Okay, cool. She's like, yeah, I can see. All right, awesome. So let me just change this to, hold on. Can you guys see me on the screen here? Just confirm me. All right, awesome. All right, if you guys could just do me a favor and mute your background noise just so that as people jump on or, you know, for the recording's sake, it's not like all this stuff in the background. So anyway, guys, sorry for the mess behind me. My office is kind of in shambles right now, and I was like, it is what it is. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Life's a little crazy right now, but thank you so much for getting on and for your patience, okay? Also, Prego brain is crazy, so sorry I'm so scattered right now. Literally about to have my baby in like 2.5 weeks. So anyway, but yeah, so I wanted to do this call much earlier in the year, but obviously, like I said, baby things happened and I had to keep moving on my doctor's appointments. So thank you guys for your patience, but this is something that I really, really wanted to share with you because I want you guys to really fully understand the importance of having systems in your business. And this is something that I've always thrived on because I'm such a scattered person as it is. Like I've always I crave trying to find structure and ideas and systems and things on how to work my business over the course of my Scentsy journey. But I would say since last year, because I had my planner system last year, I really noticed how much I actually need the systems in my business and the tasks and the day-to-day things because, you know, let me know in the comments too, there's a chat box on the side, but do you ever feel scattered in your business? You kind of just, you're going through the motions, you don't really know what the day-to-day things are that you have to do, or maybe you do know what those things are, but you're not feeling growth within your business. You know, are you more of a routine type person? I know my husband, he laughs at me, but he is so freaking predictable, my husband, because he is somebody who just does his routine every single day. I could time him to the time that he gets ready for work, he gets in the shower, then he comes out, he gets dressed, obviously, comes downstairs, puts up the pot of coffee, next thing you know, while he's doing the pot of coffee, it's just crazy. He's so routine, and when I tell him that, I'm like, oh, you're so predictable, he gets mad at me. But it's because he's a routine person. He has his way of doing things, right? And I'm routine in some ways. It's weird. I need structure, but I also feel super scattered all the time. And maybe it's because I am self-diagnosed with adult ADHD or something, but I don't know. And Scentsy has definitely made it worse for me. As much as I love Scentsy, because there's so many tasks and there's so many things to do, it's I have moments and I have days where I'm like, where do I start? And in the beginning of this year, with everything that I've had going on, I did feel that way. I almost felt like I was starting back as a new consultant. If you guys watched Laura Hubschman on RCOWS last night or the other night when she went live, and she talked a little bit about this too, you almost get to a point when you're so scattered and you don't have you know, kind of a day-to-day task on what to do that are things that are actually going to grow your business, you start to feel okay, where do I start? Where do I begin? And it can get overwhelming. So I know if I'm feeling that way, that more than likely my team's feeling that way. And so I really wanted to have this call with you to share the systems that I'm using in my business. Hopefully it will for you. I want to tell you guys too that mindset is everything. So if you're automatically well, I already have a way that I do things, I already have a system for my business, or I've tried that before, you know, that works for her, it doesn't work for me, I've done the follow-up binder, or no, I just use Maven, whatever it is, right? Just be open-minded because you might learn a thing or two, and you might take away something that might work for you, okay? Also, one thing I want to mention is that what I show you, right, in my systems and the things that I've been doing works for me. I really want to encourage you guys, and that's really why I wanted to get on this call with you, is to find the things that work for you, okay? Because it's easy to like look at what other consultants are doing and take ideas from them, right? Like I'm a huge like, oh my gosh, I love that idea. I do it all the time. I'm always researching. I'm always on YouTube. I'm always on Pinterest. I'm always looking up ways to do things in my business, but those are ideas from other people. So that may work for them, and that's fine. But I really want to encourage you to find things that work for you, okay? Also, before I get into show you everything, I watched a training by Chastity Robinson, who is super, super awesome. She's an SSD with Scentsy under Chloe. And she kind of talked a little bit about this too, and how to create your systems. And that's really what sparked me to really knuckle down and figure out what it is that I do in my business so that I could find a system that works for me. Because again, like just because I'm teaching you a system or the next consultant is teaching you a system, it doesn't mean that that's necessarily going to work for you. So I really want to encourage you guys to find the things that work for you. But I want to know, who is a, like, do you plan? Are you a planner, or are you kind of more a like, you know, day-to-day person? It's either or is fine. It's however you are. Or are you digital? Like, are you better with like things on your phone? Like, what is your MO, I guess, or your DMO, your daily method of operation in your business? Like, what kind of, you know, like, I can't think of the right word, but like, what kind of person are you when it comes to figuring out the things that you have to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, whether it be for your business, your family, your personal life, like things like that. I'll tell you, my whole life, I've never been a planner, ever. And because of Scentsy, I've had to adapt to that. So that's why before I was talking about mindset, like, don't just be like, oh, well, I'm not a systems person. Do you know how many times throughout my Scentsy journey I've said to people, oh, I need the structure, I need systems, I wish we had systems with Scentsy, and people are like, well, maybe you're just not a systems person. I'm like, no, I need structure. Like, I need the system. I just don't have a system. And this is something that I say all the time, but like, when you work a regular 9 to 5, right? Whether you work now or you used to work or whatever, when you go in, there's a training process. Usually when you start a job, there's a way that that company does things, and they teach you how to do it. Or you go into work, you clock in, you know exactly what you have to do, you know what your tasks are throughout the day. And so when you're there at work, you're doing your job, and it comes natural to you because you know exactly what to do. When I was a legal secretary, at my last job, and I did like patent prosecution, I worked for like an attorney. He would give me a document, it would be marked up, I go on the computer, I make his edits, I do the changes, I bring it back to him for review. Once he signs off on it, then I upload it to the US Patent Trademark Office website. And it was just like this whole like process that I followed, because that's what was taught. That's what I was taught, right? When you're a business owner, ain't nobody teaching you anything. You have to come up with your own way of doing things and your own systems. But I want to tell you guys that you cannot run a business on chaos. It's just not possible, unfortunately. I have tried it. I still live it daily. You can't run a business on chaos. You can't run a business on memory. And even if your business is smaller at the moment, or when you first start out and your customer base is small and your team is smaller, you're thinking to yourself, well, I only have these couple people, like, it's good. But what are you going to do someday when you have a team of 50 people, 100 people, 200 people, 500 people, 10,000 people, right? Like, it's totally possible. There are consultants out there growing businesses that large, and it could happen for you someday. So you have to think, what you do for one, can I do for that many people? Okay. And that's just not only your team, but also your customers. Your customer base grows large. Like, you're physically not going to be able to remember everybody. I remember at a leadership retreat that we went to that Scentsy had in New York City a few years ago, Heidi and Orville were on stage, and they were answering questions from consultants. And one of the questions that they asked Orville was, how do you remember everybody? Like, because you know how Heidi and Orville are like so friendly to every single consultant, right? Like, when you meet them, they're like, hi, how are you? And so somebody asked Orville, they're like, how do you remember every consultant at every event that you go to? And he said, I don't. He goes, I don't remember everybody. He goes, I remember a select few people in my head. He goes, but it's because I physically cannot remember every single consultant. He goes, that doesn't mean that I don't care about them. He's like, but you know, it's just your brain can only hold so much. So that's why systems in your business is what is going to move your business forward. Doing those day-to-day tasks, not only you, but you then teaching your team and having your team do those same things too, right? Wouldn't it be awesome to like join Scentsy or have someone join Scentsy and give them a handbook on exactly what to do? And they're just like, oh, okay, awesome. And then they go and do what they do like they would in a regular 9-to-5, right? Again, it's not like that, but you as the CEO of your business, you have to put those systems in place, and you have to teach that to your team as they come on. You have to have those training systems. You have to have those, host coaching systems or day-to-day task systems in your business, whatever those are, okay? And again, through this call, I'm going to help you find those systems for yourself, but I'm also going to show you what I'm doing, and hopefully it'll inspire you and you can get some ideas as well, okay? So let me take a sip of my coffee. Hope you girls are having a good Monday morning so far. Tina says, that's how my job is now. We have a structure here, and it's so easy to be taught and do this repeatedly, whereas if I had to learn on my own, I'd be lost. Exactly, because you have somebody teaching you. So think about your team. Think about the people that join your team, because listen, guys, if you feel scattered and you don't know what to do in your business, I guarantee you the hobbyists on your team, the people who are not so invested in Scentsy, have no clue what to do. Some people come into this business and don't even look at their consultant guide, and it just boggles my mind that people don't even do that, right? But it's because they're not taught to do that. Are we as leaders ensuring that they're doing that, right? Like, hey girl, make sure you read your consultant guide, or I'm gonna email it to you too. It's also gonna come in your kit, right? Like being that thorough leader, being that thorough CEO of your business, and ensuring that the people under you, for lack of a better term, are doing what they're supposed to be doing, okay? So how to come up with your systems, okay? Like I said, I watched a training by Chastity Robinson, and I love this idea for her because, like, there's the scalable systems you may or may not have heard of. I know Christina Stainbrook came up with those. There's, systems where it's like Mondays are customer days, Tuesdays are team days, Wednesdays are this day, right? And that's fine. Like, if you have something that's working for you, continue to do it. If it's not broke, don't fix it. That's my motto. Like, if it works, keep going. But if you find like you're trying systems or you're trying things over and over and you're kind of like failing at it, it's probably because it's not a system for you, or you are not consistently working that system, okay? And I will be the first to tell you, my follow-up binder was good for like a good 2 years, and then I slacked on it. Like, I just stopped like kind of like paying attention to it, and I noticed a decrease in my business because I stopped working my customer follow-up. They came out with Maven, and I'm like, oh, Maven's so awesome, that's gonna be so much easier. Wasn't really focusing on my follow-up binder, and guess what? I'm not a digital person. I mean, I like techie things, and I try to aspire to learn new techie devices and things like that. But I realize if it's in my phone, I put it down, it's out of sight, out of mind for me. That's just how I am, because I'm so visual. Plus, I like for me, I like to like check things off. I like to cross them out. Like, that's just how I am. So you may or may not be that way. If you might be a digital person, you might be a pen and paper, whatever works for you. But because I wasn't consistently working that system, it stopped working for me, right? The only way that a system is you have to work the system in order for it to work, okay? So you need to give whatever systems you create for yourself, like, don't just take the time and create the fluff and be like, oh, this is my new system, and then not work it consistently. You have to do it every single day. And they say it takes 21 days to create a habit. So if you give yourself a month, right? Let's say you start your system, we're about to come up in February. Take February, guys, it's leap year too. You're giving yourself a few extra days besides the 21st. Like, use February as like your test mode, like your pilot mode on your system, and see if it works, and really challenge yourself and hold yourself accountable to doing those day-to-day actions in your business and tracking them and seeing if it works, okay? And if it's not working, or you feel like you have failed on it, you're either not being consistent consistent in it, or it's just not working for you and you need to find something else, okay? If something's not working, it just means you have to figure out a new way to do things, okay? It's not throw in the towel, give up, and whatever. But in order for a system to work, you have to work the system, okay? So how to come up with your own systems. Now, again, it's easy to take ideas, but I really want to encourage you guys to think about, first of all, this is what I did this year. This is something that I've been telling myself for 4 years. I created business hours, okay? And I didn't really publicize it with my team yet because I'm about to have my baby and I know that things may change next month. So before I get my actual, like, okay guys, these are my business hours, I want to have my baby first before I make it public, like I said. But for myself and my family and my husband, like, I set business hours for myself. That is probably one of the first things you need to do when creating systems in your business, because you're going to find yourself scrolling Facebook 8, 9 o'clock at night when your kids are down or dinner's made or whatever, and you're answering team questions or a customer messages you, and then next thing you know, you're responding, and you're like, why am I responding at like 10 o'clock at night? It's crazy. I had someone literally message me at like 11 o'clock at night once. It was a customer asking me some question about a fragrance flower, and I was like, first of all, who messages people past like 9 o'clock? Like, to me, that's so inappropriate. But like, I picked up my phone and I went to message her and I was like, no. This is just crazy. I'm not messaging anybody at 11 o'clock at night. Like that. Let me tell you guys something. Nothing in your Scentsy business will be that important for you to jump on like that, okay? Things can wait in your Scentsy business. The sale can wait. Yes, I'm saying that. The team member can wait. Yes, I'm saying that. Because otherwise you're going to drive yourself crazy, okay? So what I would do first, you want to have those business hours set in place. Everybody's hours are going to be different. Like for me right now, I work my business while my kids are in school. So it's from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., Monday through Friday. I really try and not do anything on the weekends for my business. And that's just me personally. Mine kind of gets a little thrown off sometimes because my husband's schedule is crazy. And I don't really consider like posting something on the team page as working my business. I mean, like actually sitting down here, you know, sending out postcards, things like that, texting team members, customers, follow up, all that stuff. But anyhow, that's what works for me, right? So you have to figure out in the time that works for you, whether you work a full-time job or you stay home or you have kids, that the time that you're working your business is well spent. And it's not just like la-di-da-di-da, hey, I'm going to go work my business, let me go make some samples, and then now you've wasted 40 minutes on making samples, and now you got to go pick your kids up from school, or now you got to get back to your lunch break or off your lunch break or whatever, and you've done nothing for your business. You know what I mean? So it's very important that like in that time that you have, that you know that that's the time that you work your business, that it's income producing. So first I would set some business hours. Just think about what that is for you. Like, what do you do now? You know, throughout the week, like how much time are you dedicating to Scentsy? And again, everybody's different. If you only have 15 minutes throughout the day, girl, do you, right? If you have a whole day, that's fine too. It's really, that's the beauty about this business. But first come up with the time that you are willing to dedicate to your business to help it grow, okay? The second thing, and I talked a little bit about this with some of you on our coaching calls, but you have to come up with your system. And in order to do that, again, like I said, I watched a training from Chastity Robinson. I can link it for you guys too after this call because it's really great training, is to come up with lists in your business, okay? You want to come up, like write down every single thing that you do in your business, everything. And it doesn't have to be in any particular order, anything. I'm talking samples, follow-up, parties, team shout outs, like anything that you do now in your business. Again, it could be random. This is just going to be like a brain dump onto some paper to get it out in your head and say, okay, this is what I do, right? And you're going to categorize it into two parts. Personal business, okay? Along with, and then leadership, which is team stuff, okay? So personal business, things like, again, customer follow-up, thank you mail, sending out samples, you know, like anything for your personal business, parties, post coaching, whatever you're doing for your personal business, you're just going to brain dump it down. And then again, anything for leadership, team shout outs, text messaging your team members, coaching calls, training your new consultants, things like that, okay? I want to share my screen real quick and show you guys, just to give you some ideas, okay? And I'll show you my system, what I use. So let's, ideas to create, and I'm gonna, this whole drive here, where it says Patty's Business Planner, this is like, I'm gonna share this with you, okay? And I made it shareable so that you guys can access this after we get off this call. But here, ideas to create your list, okay? Personal business and leadership. So let's start with personal business. These are just images that give you ideas that you can do in your business that will help your business. You may or may not use these, right? You may, or you might do these things rather, or you might not, or you might look at this and say, oh, you know what, I've never done, you know, birthday cards before, like whatever. These, again, were shared by Chastity Robinson, which I thought was a great idea. So this is just like some ideas to help you, again, think of like the things that you do on a day-to-day basis for your business. So for customer service, things like thank you cards, sample mailers, happy mail for PWS orders, email newsletters. Like I don't do like a personal customer email newsletter, but I know every month Scentsy sends out a newsletter on our behalf, and we can edit it up until the first Wednesday of the month. So make sure, you know, if that's something that you're incorporating or that you do in your business, that you're being consistent in that. But anyhow, these are just some ideas for customer service, some ideas for things that you can do in your business for prospecting and sponsoring. These are all personal business tasks. So I want you guys to, like, you know, when this call's over, whenever you're coming up with your systems, that you go to this here, because these are going to be some ideas to help you create the thing, like the list, and say, okay, what am I actually really doing in my business? I hand out samples, I book parties, things like that, okay? And then again, then you have, so you have your personal business, and then you have the things that you do for leadership with your team. You do text messages, maybe you send out postcards, do you do shout outs on Facebook on the team page, do you send them happy mail, are you doing team challenges? Like, what are the things that you're doing currently for your team? You might look at this and have some aha moments and say, you know what, I actually really don't do any trainings for my team. Maybe it's time to start. You know, because your business is built upon personal business and leading and training your team, okay? Like, in order to build a substantial, solid foundation for your business, and in order to grow a big team, you have to be a good leader and lead them along the way. And these are some great ideas that you can pull for your business. Communication. Do you have maybe like a group chat for your team? Like we have the leader chat, right? Do you do team meetings? You may or may not do these. I don't do all of these, okay? So you have to like just look and think what it is that you do in your business, okay? Once you come up with your list, let me stop this for 1 second. Once you come up with your list, okay, you then want to break it down, okay? So you're going to come up with a list. You're going to write down everything that you do in your business, both personal and for leadership. Personal business and your team, right? Every single thing, brain dump it, doesn't have to be in order again. Once you have everything down, okay, you're going to feel good. You're going to be like, dang, got all that out. You also might say to yourself, wow, I'm doing like way too much. Like I'm doing like a lot of things that like I probably shouldn't do. And I know firsthand I've done that so many different times. Like I tend to take on too much at once, okay? So you might cut some things out. You might look at your list and be like, you know what? Like the idea of sending out, you know, happy mail once a month sounded good when I first started, but I haven't been keeping up with it because it's not something that I'm able to do, so I'm not going to do that anymore. Okay, so that'll help you by brain dumping these things onto your list. But once you have your list, you're going to break it down into the things that you do daily, weekly, and monthly for your business, okay? So as I created my list, I wrote a D for daily, W for weekly, and then obviously M for monthly, and I broke it down that way. And then I took those things and I made a daily list, a weekly list, and a monthly list. And then I was able to say, okay, during the month, am I doing this once a month, twice a month? Like it sounds like convoluted, like hearing me say it, but I promise when you write it down and you look at it, you're gonna kind of understand more about like the things that you should or shouldn't be doing in your business based on what works for you, okay? So let me now show you the things that I am doing in my business. And again, I've used my planner system. I started it last year. in 2018 in January, and I have to say I stayed pretty consistent in most of it. The things that I wasn't consistent in, I didn't do now in 2020. I was like, I didn't even touch that last year. Like, I'm not even gonna bother looking at it right now. But I use a happy planner. This was my one from last year. You can get them at Michael's. You can get them at Amazon. I got this adorable little cover on Etsy. I also want to encourage you guys, you do not need to get a happy planner. You don't have to do, like, you have to do what works for you. If you're digital, do digital. If you have a binder, put it in a binder. If, like, whatever works for you. But the reason why I like the happy planner is because it's customizable. So you can actually, like, take out your pages like this, and then say, you know what, I need to move that over here, and then put it like right in here, right? So that's why I like the happy planner, because literally you can customize it to however you want. So I do what's called Franken planning, and I put my my planner and all the sheets in it like the way that works for me. Okay, so because sometimes when you buy a planner, it's like generic, like you're kind of like, you know how like in a lot of planners it's like you mark off like the amount of water that you drank that day, and I'm like, girl, I don't drink that much water. Why am I marking it off my planner? So, because it's so generic, right? So that's why I like the happy planner, again, because it's easy to communicate. But anyhow, so let me see here. So let me just share with you. I'm going to show you guys my screen. Okay, let me move this over here. So go back. Okay, my business planner. So again, I'm going to share this with you. So here under my business tabs and systems, this is literally how my planner is broken down. These are like the actual tabs that I have in my planner. Again, this might be a lot for you. You might look at this and be like, there's no way I do that much, which is fine, but I want to share this with you to give you some ideas and help inspire you, okay? So again, you can see I have it broken down into two pieces, my business and for my team. I actually have 3 parts to my planner because I put our finances in here because that's something I want to stay on top of for me and my family, but obviously I'm not going to go into my finances with you guys. So up here, which you can't really see it, it's a little like tab. These have these cute little dashboards and it says business, and then I have another one that says team. Okay, so everything under for my business is going to be here. And I'll show you what I have. So first I have my task trackers, okay? Task trackers, right? This is a document that I created on Excel. Chastity came up with something very similar. I kind of took her idea and worked it to what worked for me. But this is literally something that I look at every single day. My daily habit tracker, like the things that I do every single freaking day for my business. You can even see things like clean and empty my dishwasher. I know that sounds crazy, but if I don't put it on there, then it doesn't become a habit. I mean, I'm usually pretty good at like cleaning, making sure things are done. But my goal is like I drop my kids, and again, you have to think about what works for you, but I drop my kids at school at 9:30. I'm home by like 9:40. So I want to make sure I make my beds in the house, I clean and empty the dishwasher, you know, I'm checking my planner, blah, 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 like for the things that I have to do before I start working my business at 10 o'clock, okay? So think about what that is for you. I mean, you don't have to do that. I'm just saying, like, these are editable too, by the way. When you open them up, you're only going to be able to view them on Google Docs or Google Drive rather, but I think if you download the document to Excel, open it up in Excel, you can save it as a new document and then recreate it for yourself, okay? But you can see here, daily habit tracker. So I would circle the month. So this is like the only page that I think you would have to keep reprinting monthly for your business. But I would circle for the month, and then here are the days up top. And then check it off. Did I do it on the first, you know? And then for my business, am I checking my news tab and my email? I know that sounds probably basic for most people, like, duh, we're checking our news tab, duh, we're checking our email, but you'd be surprised, like, out of sight, out of mind. If I don't see it, oh, you know what, let me go check the news tab, especially now when they just updated the whole workstation, like, half the time you don't even see anything, right? Logging my daily numbers, like, am I connecting, just things like that. So I started it, and I wasn't that great in January, as you can tell. But that doesn't mean that I'm gonna stop, guys, because February is a brand new month. And just like keep going. That's my thing. You have to give your system time to work before you give up on it, okay? So there's the daily habit tracker, and then I created this weekly task tracker, which I want to try. I can't, it's not opening here. Hold on. Let me see. Sorry, my computer's a big old mess too. Daily. Oh wait, what is it called? What did I call this thing? Oh, personal business trackers. There we go. I see her laughing. Okay, so because it looks better here when you see it, I can show you better. So that's the daily, right? And then I have my weekly. So I look at this every single day. So this is every week, these are the things that I'm doing. Week 1, scheduling my business hours and my family planner. On Sundays, I sit down with my husband because his schedule's crazy, my schedule's crazy. Like we sit down and I mark off all his days off that he has, any overtime that he's doing, and we schedule appointments, like whatever. And then wherever I'm able to work the things for my business, that's how I fit it in for that week. But that way I'm checking off, did I schedule my business hours and my family planner for the week? Things like texting, every week I text any PWS orders that I had prior for the week prior, rather, I make sure to reach out to them. So this is just like a little checklist so that I could go down my list and be like, okay, did I text my PWS orders? Check, right? I have Maven here because when I created this is before I went back to my follow binder, but you write whatever works for you. You know, little things like that. So these are things that I do every week. Again, you may or may not be doing this every single week, okay? Or you may have other things that you're doing. So this is just things that like, I was like, okay, these are things that I aspire to do every single week, and we'll see how it goes, okay? Again, if it's not working, take it out, change it, do something else, do something different, but do what works for you. And then these are things that I do on the first week, on the second week, on the third week, and on the fourth week. So the first week, I like to send my customers like an email of all the promotions that we have going on that month. Like this month, we have so many promotions. I want to make sure my customers know that, right? So whether it be an email or a text message, did I do that in January? And you could see here month by month, I could check it off to make sure that I did that. I have a customer happy mail system that I send out, things like that, right? Week 2, going down, making sure that I completed all the coaching calls, because I try and do my coaching calls too. Well, I shouldn't say I try. I'm going to try to do my coaching calls later in the month with my consultants, because the first 2 weeks of my business, or the first 2 weeks of the month rather, needs to be for my business, like my parties, my follow-up, all those things, and then scheduling those coaching calls in the last 2 weeks. And I encourage you guys to do the same as well, because at the end of the day, your business, number one, always comes first. You can't lead and train and teach others if you're not working your own business, right? So that's just what I do. But again, this is here for you to take for ideas. You may or may not use all of these, but at least the tracker's here. So like I said, I have this in my planner. I have my daily, and then I also have my weekly, and I open this up every single day and I check off the things that I have to do to make sure that I'm doing them, okay? And don't beat yourself up if you're not getting everything, because I'll tell you, for January, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do all these things. These are gonna be the things that I'm gonna do. After I wrote down my list, I was thinking to myself, these are like actual, like really like realistic things that I could do in my business. But because, like I said, I just have, right now I'm just like baby mode for me, for my business. Like I have so many things, like after this call, I'm going to Target to go get some last minute things. So I didn't get to some of it, but I'm not gonna beat myself up over it. I'm gonna restart fresh from February, okay? So, and again, if you find like month after month you're not doing things, it's probably because you're not doing it. So either take it out completely or think of another idea. Any questions on the personal business trackers? If you guys have questions along the way, just put them in the comments. I'll go back and answer just for the sake of time, okay? So that's the personal business trackers. Next, I have business growth, which is huge, you guys, okay? So business growth, where is it? Here we go, business growth. I really want to encourage you guys to track your business growth, the numbers in your business, your daily numbers, your team numbers. It is so important because it really gives you, like, you can look back and be like, wow, like, why was I growing so much last January, but this January I'm not, you know? Like, this is something that Jennifer Anderson taught me, I don't even know how long ago, was to track my numbers. So the first thing that I have is this year over year, okay? I got this out of another planner, which I also shared in here for you guys, but this is 2 pages. It's year at a glance. You put them side by side, it kind of looks like this. Okay, and what this is, it lets you track what you did last year versus what you're doing this year. Okay, so when you print this out, you see it says PRV. You're going to go through your workstation on your performance tab and write your PRV last January in 2019, your TWV last January, your GWV, how many active frontline, blah, 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 blah. You can pull all that stuff on the reporting tab of your workstation, okay? And you're gonna do that for every single month throughout the year of 2019. Then going forward, like February 1st, you go back and you pull January 2020 report and you write the comparison number right underneath it, okay? And that will help you realize, like, it kind of gives you a bird's eye view at like how you're working, how your business has grown or not grown, okay? Because a lot of times we think like we're stuck and our team's not growing and our business is not growing, but then you look at like your numbers based on last year at the same time and you're like, wow, I actually really did grow. Like my PRV wasn't even half, more than what it was. So I like to have the year at a glance. Another thing that I also have in here is business growth by the month. So this one is super cool because it helps you track, obviously, kind of things like how you did in the year. Also tracks your commission, so you can look at how much, what did I get paid last January versus what I got paid this January. Any promotions that you have, you're able to track that, PRV, all that stuff. And then even down here, lets you track like were there promotions within your downline too that you want to make sure that you're keeping on top of, right? Any frontline promotions, like things like this, it's important for you to know. It's really important for you to know as a leader, like how not only are you growing, but how's your business growing? Did you have any 2K sales? Bookings, how many parties did you have in that month? I know for January, I'm going to put 0 this year because I did like no parties in January, which is crazy to me. Did you make any new contacts? How many events did you attended? Did you earn any incentives? Like I like this. It's like a yearly. You can see it goes January through December, but you track it month by month. So I really like that one. And then the one that I use constantly is the daily tracking log. And this one here, you can see I have, I don't know if you can really see that, but my daily numbers. I usually don't track on the week, write them down on the weekends just because I try not to work my business on the weekends, so I'm not up here with my planner. But this is the thing that I said that Jennifer Anderson gave me, golden nuggets years ago, is that it's so important so that you could see every single day where on track, like when during the month are you normally getting paid at title, or when during the month are you normally hitting, a certain team volume or whatever. It helps you track your PRV, your team wholesale volume, your group wholesale volume, any active frontline. Did you have any new frontline? Things like that. And what I like to do on the back of every daily tracking log is write down what's going on for the month. So this month for January, I have promotions like we have the Salt Lake Warmer, Valentine's bundles, transition month, bring back my bar, new season sales, starter kits, like anything that we have going on in January, I always write it down so that I could go back and say, okay, wow, our numbers were like really on the up and up. Why was that? Oh, it's because we had those new season sales kits and we had transition month and blah, 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 right? So it's very, very important to track your business growth. I can't stress that enough, so that you can, I'm telling you, if you do this consistently, you're going to look back and be like, wow, like I either am growing or I'm not growing. Like it gives you that bird's eye view, like I said. I don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. Awards and incentive trackers, which is my next one. This one is just for annual mentor and annual sales. So up top is annual sales. This is something, if you're not striving for it, like if you're not tracking it, you're not even striving for it. If you want to earn annual sales and annual mentor, you got to track it so that you know where you are and how far away you are from earning it. So annual sales starts May, right, and ends in April. So every single month starting in May, or what I would say since last May, go back, because we have a couple months left. Write down what your PRV was, see how far off you are, because you might look at that and be like, oh my God, you know what? Like I still have, January, February, March, April, I'm sorry, January, February, March. I still have 3 months, right? So you might look back and be like, oh my gosh, I only have like 2,500 PRV more to get to April, right? And it might give you that little bit of motivation or boost to say, wow, I'm like really close to earning annual sales. So it's important that you're tracking, because if you're not tracking, how are you gonna know? How are you gonna know how far off you are, right? And then for annual mentor, for every, you see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 14. When you sponsor 14 people who reach at least certified or lead, you get a $25 bonus for each of those people. $50 bonus if they hit lead, okay? And that's up to, exactly, but it has to be at least 14 people. So make sure you're writing it down. When did they join? Certified, you check it off if they've been certified, if they hit lead, so that you know, because unfortunately, which I don't know why Scentsy doesn't have an annual mentor, annual sales tracker. Why don't we have that? I don't know, but you know what? It's important that you're tracking it, okay? So that's why I have that in there. The next thing that I have for my business are my conversations. So I created these lists. This is I call it a running list of contacts, okay, not a list of 100, because a list of 100 is limiting me at 100, but a list of 100 is something that is always continually growing, and it's, you know, if you met a person at a party, if someone referred them to you, whatever it is, make sure that you're writing those people down, and you have your list of people that you're connecting with, because again, you can't run a business on memory. You have to write people down in the context that you're making, so that you can go back the next time that you have, you know, you have a booking special, or you're trying to get parties booked, or you're trying to get orders placed. You have people to work with, and you're not sitting there saying, nobody wants to order, nobody wants to party. Well, here's your list here. If you're doing your due diligence and you're having conversations with Scentsy, you need to be writing those people down. Okay, so that's what that is there, running list of contacts and or a list of 100, which is always growing. I have a tracker for all of my opportunity conversations and my follow-up, okay? Their name, why are they interested in joining, the first date that I asked them, did I send them join info? You guys know I'm big on sending opportunity packets, you know, just things like that. The first contact that I made with them, or the method of contact rather, the first week follow-up, did I follow, you know, it's kind of like a little checklist of when I should be following up with them, and then any notes. And again, you can download these, like when you open them, you'll be able to download them, and you can even update it to what works for you. And then I also have my booking conversations and follow-up. So anybody who's ever expressed interest in hosting a party, no matter what type of party it is, I'm writing it down. Even if they said no, or maybe they said, yeah, someday I want to do a party in the spring or whatever, right? Like write their name down. If it's a guest that you met at a party or someone referred you, make sure you're keeping track of that stuff, so that again, when you go back to book, you have it there. Do you guys notice on the contacts tab on the workstation, like when you enter someone in, you can give them little, like you can put if they're interested in joining, if they're interested in hosting. If someone goes to your PWS and they can subscribe to your newsletter, if they place an order, they can also put, and you know, if they're interested in hosting and joining, it gives them that category. It's the same thing. This is the same thing. You're just categorizing people into who's talking about booking, who's talking about opportunities, so that you have people to go back and follow up with. Okay? And then lastly, as far as my conversations, I have a customer order follow-up. Sometimes I have random people be like, hi, I want to order, you know, and I'll forget to put their order in because I'm scatterbrained. And the next thing you know, do you know that I literally, when we had the honey pot warmer, I kid you not, and this is me being totally transparent because I'm human, when we had the honey pot warmer and Eeyore, I had a customer that was obsessed with it, and she was like, I want it so bad, blah, blah, blah. Wrote her order down on like a order form that I didn't even place her damn order. She just messaged, and I placed a whole order with a whole bunch of people that for that particular warmer. She messaged me just a couple weeks ago. She paid me money on Facebook Messenger, okay? Exactly, because your director's human, guys, okay? I'm telling you, like, paid me freaking money. Life got crazy. I didn't pay attention to it. I didn't track it. And she messaged me recently saying, hey, do you know when that's going to come in? And I literally had to think to myself, did I place her order? Oh my God. Went through my workstation, did not see her order. I refunded her money. And I was like, listen, I'm so sorry. Like, I don't normally do that. And guess what? The warmer is sold out. So now I can't even get it for her, even if I wanted to. So I had to refund her. It was like over $100. And now this is months later after Christmas that I got to pull $100 and something out. So yeah, exactly. So that's why I was like, I'm gonna write this down so I can keep track, right? So customer order follow-up. If you have anybody who's expressed an interest in ordering, I like to write their name down. What do they want to order? And then check off if their order was placed, okay? That's just something that I think is important, at least for me. The next thing that I have are parties and events. I have two separate tabs. One is for booked parties and the second is for booked events. In my booked parties tab, I have a bag party booking log. So anybody that I'm sending a couch party to, I could just keep their, track of who's sending it out or who I've given it to, their party amount, blah, blah, blah. Did I flip them? And then, go back. And then I have a folder, which I know you guys can't see here, but if it's like, let's say a home party and the party's open, I did this last year, it was awesome. If it was before I had the party, I had the host fill out like the host tracking sheet and I put it in here. Once the party was done on this side, I closed it and just kept it in here. And then this is this paper right here, which is the party planning. And this just helped me plan for her home party. It gives me some ideas on making sure I'm doing the due diligence, like the host coaching prior to her party. So that's for parties. And then for events, same thing. I have my upcoming vendor events. So during the fall and winter, I was heavy on this. I had them booked out for a few months at a time. I would write them here so I know what's coming up. Did I pay them? Is the event confirmed? Blah, blah, blah. Because a lot of times you send, especially when you're booking a lot of events like that, you send out checks or whatever for the events. And then you're like, wait a second, did they receive my check? Are we good? So it just helps you keep track. And then this is just a little event planner to help you make sure that, did I bring my drawing slips, my business cards, things like that. This is a part of another direct sales planner that I also shared in here with you too. But I find this paper very helpful. So I added it to my planner. And then we're almost done. Mailouts. Okay. So here, mailouts, this is my sample tracker. So we send samples to customers. How often are we sending samples to customers and then we're not following up with them to get that order placed, that party book, that joint conversation? Like samples really, I joined Scentsy because my sponsor sent me a sample. Literally. Had she not followed up with me, right? Exactly. I see them saying same. So you got to think too, right? Like we sent, like it's the smell that sells, but are we following up? Are we making sure? So this just helps you keep track of who you're sending samples to, what their response was, did they order, have they joined, things like that. And then the next thing is tracking the PWS orders, because I think it's important that if you're getting random orders on your PWS, whether it's from Scentsy.com or a customer just randomly went on your website, that you're sending them a little thank you in the mail. So I want to keep track of that as well. So that's there. And then we're going to get into, was this everything here? Blah, 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 blah. Test trackers. Oh, let's go here to team. For calls and trainings. This is my good one right here. Calls and trainings, you guys. I want to start encouraging you, whether you think people want to get on calls with you or not, or you're trying and nobody's getting on, right? Coaching calls. I cannot stress that enough. It's so important that you're doing coaching calls with your frontline, specifically. And if you have someone on your team who's not really like taking the lead to do the calls, then obviously it's completely fine for you to coach other people. I'm not saying that. But like I like to work with my frontline. And the reason why I started this is because now we have other directors in the RCOWS downline. So this is what works best for everybody. But coach and call checklist. Okay, so why is this? It looks so weird like this. Anyway, you get the gist. When you open it up, it's not gonna look all ugly like that. It shouldn't. I just had to get this done. So not all of this like matches, looks all super pretty. Like this to me, all of that's fluff. Like what's most important is that I'm writing things down. So coaching call checklist, like when you have the call with them, the forms, if you've seen AIM before, if not, I can share those with you guys, but are you sending them the Google forms to fill out? Did they return it? And then any focuses that you're having on the call. You never want to end a call without like like the next step, or helping them figure out what the next step is to do in their business. Some people just want to get on and shoot the ish, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, like, you're a business owner and your time is valuable. So we're not here to chit chat. We can have chit chat calls whenever. But if we're talking business and Scentsy, then it needs to be specific. I try and make my calls 30 minutes. Sometimes they go over. But I really, really, really try and knuckle down and make sure that you're sticking to, look at the faces, you're sticking to the point, right? Because a lot of times you get on calls with people and they start talking about a million things. You got to reel them back in and be like, okay, girl, let's talk about this now, right? The forms will help you figure out what to talk about. And then as you go through your calls with people, you can start, you know, giving them like a focus or what you're leaving them off with, okay? And again, we'll talk more about coaching calls. If you guys ever have questions about things like that, please, you could always message me, or we can chat about it on a coaching call. But it's just important. So anyway, to track it here, so that way you're not printing out forms over and over. You're, you know, for me, when I first started, I would write down people's information, but then I'd lose the paper that they filled out. So I like to have this here so that it's, when I go to my coaching call, I just open up my checklist and I'm like, okay, where did we last leave off? What was the focus that I gave them for that call? And now I could ask them how they're doing with it. You know, how are they keeping up with, you know, the last thing that we talked about? And then the next one is new consultant checklist, because it's very important that as your teamies join, you're giving them the tools. You have the systems for yourself, you know what to do, but are you sharing this with your team, okay? So this is just a little like checklist to make sure you're getting your new consultants off to a good start. And then I have Frontline, so this is new. Frontline Focus. So again, I know I've talked in the RCOWS leader chat group, or leader chat that we have, you guys, on Messenger. Anna Hughes, okay, Frontline Focus system. I thought it was an amazing training, so awesome, because you know how I was talking about tracking your own numbers for your business and how important that is? This is something that I've never thought to do, but it's tracking your team, your frontline specifically, their numbers, their growth. Because again, as your team grows, it gets so easy to forget or keep up with who's actually working. And when you go to run a report, you're like, oh, well, she's got high sales, she's doing good. Oh, well, she recruited 2 people this month, she's doing really good, right? But as you grow, you want to make sure, who on my team's got active frontline? I don't know about you, but I don't know that off the top of my head. Right? Like, you don't know what your teams are doing. I had a girl message me the other day trying to add some random consultant to the group. I was like, hey, it's for RCOWS only. And she's like, oh yeah, no, I'm not a consultant anymore. I just thought it'd be good because she just joined Scentsy. And I was like, oh my God, I don't even know this girl's not a consultant anymore. I mean, she's not my front line. Like, she was just someone in my downline, but that's because I wasn't keeping track of things like this. So it's just important to do that. So she has, like, in her video, I think she shares the files on YouTube, I don't know, but it's pretty much, she has 2 pages. One, just to keep track of their name, their address, things like what are her husband's name, their birthdays, their hobbies, right? Like, you're not gonna sit there and ask them, so what are your hobbies? Tell me. Like, these are just kind of things that, like, you do along the way. Like, conversations as you have along the way, you'll just start to fill that out, all right? Depending on the conversation. I'm not saying you need to go ahead and fill this out for every single person, but as you have those conversations, you'll start to know. But so she had the, you know, keeping track of things like that, but then the second page was the business growth. I just put it all on one sheet just to make it simple and save less paper. But it's pretty much the same thing. Keep track of what their titles are, and then month by month, what their PRV was, their recruits, the title, and then fund mail. What I like about her system with this was that it lets her touch base once a month with her front line. Because again, as your business grows, it's going to be real easy to not touch base with your frontline. And I think I was on the call with Amanda the other day, and I was like, I have like over 65 frontline, and I don't talk to many of them. And that's not because I don't care about them or don't want to see them do well or want to help them. It's just because literally, physically, you can only keep so much information in your head. And obviously, you're going to work with the willing. You work with the people who are showing up, you know? But I don't ever want anybody to ever feel like they're not valued or they're not important either. So this just helps you keep track of that, and it lets you at least touch base. So here, when it says month, or month, and then the date, you put the date during that month that you touch base with them. you know, so that at least, you know, even if it's something like random, like, oh girl, I saw you did a live video that's super awesome, you know, like you know, whatever it is, it doesn't always have to be about PRV or high sales or, you know, recruiting or anything. Even just to touch base and say hi, or hey, I saw your grandmother passed away and I just wanted to touch base and make sure, you know, you're doing good. Whatever it is, it gives you a little bit of reason to make sure you're keeping track that you're touching base with them. So I like this. What I would do when you print this out is, as you have time, just go through your Frontline, run a report, and then just fill one out for each of them. And then at the end of the month, you, like for February 1st, you know, I'll go back and I'll look at what their reports were for January, and I'll write down all their numbers. Did they have any recruits? So that this is going to show how your team is growing. It's going to show so that you can look at that and be like, man, damn, Tina had 6 recruits last month, or Tina, you know, her sales are like super high, and like it gives you something to like look at on paper without having to really go ahead and pull the report on a month-by-month basis. Okay. Then I just have a spot for reinstatements. I think it's important that we are keeping track of our people who reinstate. You might have an old Frontline that comes to you and says, hey, I want to rejoin Scentsy, or someone roll up to you, or maybe they weren't your Frontline, maybe they just joined with you. But how are you getting them off to a proper relaunch to their business? So this is just a little checklist for that. I think that's super important because we can't forget about our reinstatements. We got to treat them like new consultants. And then Inactive Consultants, this is pretty much, you want to, like, the month that they went inactive, did they certify previously? Who was their sponsor? And when are they going to be able to reinstate? Because if you have somebody who's, you know, coming up, like I just spoke to somebody who she's like, oh, I can reinstate next month. And, you know, I'm going to be following up with her in February and being like, hey, girl, you know, you can come back to Scentsy for free. Like, you know, it's February 1st. Like, let's get you back on track. And then I can go back once she's reinstated, go back to my reinstatement tracker and then start her off from there, okay? And then this is just from another planner that I have here, keeps track of all the will cancels. Anybody who's on will cancel for the month, writing it down, whether it be for my Frontline or like my team. Because sometimes the sponsor, like the leader sometimes the person who sponsors someone has no clue that they have people about to will cancel. And they're just letting them go. Or, you know, so it helps you keep track. That's the most I'm going to say about that. What else do I have in here? Let me go back to my business. Oh, this was the last things I wanted to show you. Business expense trackers. These were from another planner that I used last year, which I thought was awesome. This is just a little tip sheet, kind of gives you some ideas of some things you can write off, especially now with tax season. I like to keep this in my planner, along with a tracker for your income that you made with Scentsy versus your expenses that you had. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I just got to the point in my business, sometimes I have things come out, warmer of the month, my Zoom, because I pay like $14 a month for Zoom or whatever, because I use it consistently. I mean, you have to obviously think about the expenses that you have, but sometimes I forget like the things that I have coming out, and then I'm like, oh my God, that just came out of my account. Like, what is that? And I forget. So this just helps you keep track with that. And then also supplies and inventory. This is from another planner. Helps you keep track of any business supplies or inventory, like paper, I need new staples, I need new labels, I need blah, blah, blah. Like, helps you just keep track of that if you want that. These are obviously not necessary. I'm just like a super squirrel and I'm trying to be, you know, just like on top of my game. So that's my business planner. I know it seems like a lot. Again, please don't feel like you have to do every single thing like this or use what I use. I really want to encourage you guys to do the things that you do for your business, and that starts with creating that brain dump of everything personal and everything for leadership. And then from there, working the things that you do daily, weekly, and monthly. Again, you have these ideas to create your list here underneath that folder. You can find those there. And then here, other consultant planners and trackers, these are just like this one here. Like I gave you, this is my budget planner that I have. I actually bought this on Etsy, but sharing it with you guys, more than welcome to use it. Because for me and my husband, like, we want to get a hold of our finances. We're trying to do the Dave Ramsey, like, total money makeover. So I got something to put in my planner. You do not have to use this, but I gave it to you just so you have access to it. I don't use every single page in here. I took out what works for us. And then there's also this planner that I got years ago. I think it's from like 2016. Yep, when I first joined Scentsy. But there are certain pages in here that I use. Like I said, the vendor show. There was like the business growth. Like, there's little things in here that I have used over the years that I still use today. And these are all just different colors. Like, that was like a purple. This is all, so just if you want to go through and look. The Wax Plus Happy Planner, this one is another one that I purchased on Etsy last year that I was using. Like, you can see this page is the annual awards that I took and put it in my planner. So take out what, you don't have to use it, but it's here for your access if you want it. And then this was another one that someone else had made, that's here. So they're just accessible if you need them, if you want them. You don't have to do anything with them. That's up to you. And then these are trackers, I think, from Chastity Robinson. So when she did her training, these are the trackers that, like, I kind of pulled from and pulled some ideas. So you might see some, like, it looks similar, or you could take this and use what works for you. Like, that's completely up to you. And then this was like a label system too, because I know sometimes people do like the labels in their planners. So again, I just wanted to give you guys access, give you some ideas. I'm not saying you have to use, do what works for you. So I'm going to stop that. I hope that that's helpful for you. I know I ramble and go on and on and on, but let's see. Is this a doc where, is this a doc we're able to edit what fits us? Why don't you girls just unmute yourself, because there's only like a couple people on here anyhow. What do you mean? Which doc were you talking about, Amanda?
You already answered it. It was whatever, but if we save them, we're able to like edit them once they're on our thing.
Yes. I don't think you'll be able to edit them like on the Google Drive, because it's like a view only, but if you download it, you'll be able to like save it, like do
edit my version.
Yeah, like save as whatever, and then you should be able to edit it that way. Yeah. All right, awesome. So do you guys have any other questions? I know I kind of rambled. So anyway, last thing I just want to leave you off with is, like I said, it's easy to look at this and be like, yeah, that's a good idea. I want to encourage you to implement it. Like, implement something. It doesn't have to be all of this, but implement like ideas and systems and the things that you do in your business, and try and get yourself on track, because again, systems build businesses, not like your people don't build businesses. Systems build people. People work systems, and the systems build the people, but you have to work the system in order for it to work. And you have to train and teach your team as they join, that it has to work for them, for them too. So your system may be different. I'm not saying you have to do this, but whatever it is, it has to be something that you can literally give someone when they join and say, hey girl, like, here, this is what we're going to do. Or this is how I keep track of my customers, or whatever. Because most of the time, again, if you don't know it and you feel scattered, your team for sure is feeling that way too. Some people just don't know how to work this business like a business. And that was the whole point of this, is that I wanted to share this with you. So I think what I'm going to do is create a leader group, okay? I'm hesitant. I have been so hesitant in creating a leader group because we have tried them in the past, and like, the only way I'm going to create a leader group for us, you guys, is there's going to be a little bit of rules, okay? And I'm not one to be like, oh, this is what we need to do, there's rules. But like, it's going to be like and I'm going to tell this in the chat, and I'll say it on the group too, but like, whoever is a part of this leader group, you have to share at least twice a month something that you're doing for your business or your team. That's it. Like, I mean, trust me, I get busy too. Because I'm not creating a group for me. I'm not creating a group to say, oh, I just want to put all my leaders in a group so I can tell them all the things. Like, it's for you guys. And it's so important that we connect and share together as leaders the things that we're doing. And the leader chat is great. I love it. I know you guys do too. I think it's good because it helps build that connection. And I know many of you have built, relationships with each other through that, which is great. But I don't find that we're sharing enough in there, like sharing enough like team stuff and the things that we're doing. And not only that, but the group gives us the access to do that. It lets us upload files. It lets us post pictures and, you know, all the things, go live with a video or a training or a tip or something like that. So that's the only thing that I ask, is that if we create this group and you join the group, that you please just share it twice a month. That's all I'm asking, whenever works for you. And I'm going to be keeping tabs, so if nobody's sharing. No, but seriously, I think that it's super important to like share and just feed off each other with stuff like that.
I
Okay?
agree too. Like I
Yeah.
tell Amanda sometimes, like whenever we'll have like our girls and we tell them all the time, like share what you're doing, because what you're doing could benefit someone else and then vice versa. So
Mhm.
like I'll post like what I've done today with my customers or whatever, and like this is how many follow-ups I've done, and like this is all the mail I've sent out, and she
Yeah.
does it too. And sometimes we don't get that feedback, which is a little upsetting for me. I know like almost never we get feedback. So
Well,
um
then this isn't a group.
this is like our little
Yeah, like a team
downline.
page. Yeah.
Yeah,
So one, I just want to say to that, when your team's a little smaller, it's easier to notice those things.
right.
A team page is something that just takes time to grow. Um,
Hmm.
and as long as you're creating some sort of community, even if you don't feel like the reciprocation from people yet, just continue to do what you do. Keep doing it, and as you grow and as you build, eventually it'll start. Because I was the same way. I made a team page when I had 3 people, and I would be the only one posting. And even sometimes too, especially with the algorithm, like it's sometimes like
Yeah,
last night. I know Laura Hubschman went live. I didn't even get a notification for it. All of a sudden, I was in my
I
news.
didn't either.
Yeah, it showed that she was live like 45 minutes ago, and I'm like, what the heck, man? I was on my phone. You know, so a lot plays into that. It's not
Yeah,
only that. I mean, yes, a good majority it's because most people are hobbyists and it's just not in their mind frame. You know, I mean, I do it too on my uplines. Like I have our director pages that we're on, and sometimes they'll post, and I just don't feel like responding back just because my life is crazy and things are going on. So I like to try and like give people the benefit of the doubt,
right.
but also know that like if like you got to build that community if you want it to happen, which is through consistency. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, on the other spectrum of that is that yes, it should be a community. It shouldn't just be the Tina page, the Amanda page, the Patty page. Like it has to be like a community where people are sharing, because the more that people share, the more it's like social proof. You know, like everybody's kind of like doing, you know, it's like where the party's at. They're like, oh, I want to share. And so it takes time, because I'll tell you, still with the RCOWS page, we get like that too. And sometimes I'm like, I don't understand. Like I just posted that, nobody's responding. You know, it is what it is. Like at the end of the day, if you have
Yeah.
your systems in place and you're working your business and you're having personal communication with your team and your leaders, and you're, you know, you're doing those things behind the scenes off of Facebook, then that doesn't really matter. That will
Yeah.
come. You just have to give it the time with that. But yes, I think it's important, especially as leaders, that we're connecting and sharing ideas with each other. Okay. So I'm going to leave you girls off. Thank you so much for getting on the call. I'm going to go to Target and go get my last minute baby things.
Jealous.
Yes. Oh, for baby things.
Well, both, but
Target.
like I love Target, but like also baby things.
Yeah.
We don't need to do any more baby shopping. Listen, Jess, let me see your Baby Yoda thing. Where is it? I got my coworker. She's obsessed with Baby Yoda, and she's having a baby. So we went to Disney this weekend. I saw this thing, and I literally could not pass it up. See it?
Oh, that's so cute. Does that
And
cost
I'm like,
more?
I want to have all the babies so I can have all of them.
That's so cute. It's so funny because I was thinking like I want to get one of those, because usually they have the baby on board, but I'm like, why don't they have one that says children on board? Because sometimes I have people up my butt and I want to scream out the window, I'm like, I got kids in the car.
Exactly. We
Anyway,
saw one yesterday. It said, honk if the
The
kid
kid
falls
falls
out.
out. Yeah.
what?
Honk if the kid falls out.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Yeah. Well, have fun at Target. This was definitely really helpful for me. I'm glad I was able to actually join today. So,
Good. I'm glad. Yeah, no,
yeah.
I always want to make sure that you guys are picking up what I'm putting down and that it actually is something that helps. If either of you or anybody watching the call, obviously we're still recording, like need help with any of this, please reach out. Like I know sometimes coming up with things on your own is just like, where do I start? But I think again, if you just start with the brain dumping of the things that you do, it can be really beneficial to you.
Yeah.
Also, I'd love to see as you create your systems and share them in the group, like show us what you're doing. I think what I might do is come with a live too and actually show you physically what the planner looks like itself to give you some ideas. But if you're doing digitally, if you have a board that you're writing it on, whatever it is, like show us the ideas inside the group. And I'm gonna link this Google Drive, there's the word. So link the Google Drive in the group as well as on our leader chat, and tell everybody that we're gonna start the leader group with those two rules, or with that rule, twice a month.
So is the leadership group made, or are you making it?
Say that again?
Is the leadership group being made, or is it made?
I have to make it. Yeah, I haven't created it yet. Because I also wanted to, like, I mean, I know we've been talking a little bit about it, but I don't know. I kind of just wanted to feel it out if it was like important. Because, like I said, the last thing I want to do is create a group and then like it's not valuable to anybody. And
Right.
that's what I did in the past. That's why I was like, let's do the leader chat. But
Have you done a poll?
Hmm?
Have you done like maybe a poll in our chat?
I have. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I know a few people were up for it. So
I think it's really beneficial to have both, because you keep the group chat of like being able to have that communication and like togetherness of us all, but then also the group to share the Zoom calls like this or go live and be able to refer back to it instead of having to scroll through 5 billion messages.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the thing, yeah, and that's why I mean, there's pros and cons. I mean, I'm definitely not getting rid of the chat. I think that's awesome, and I think too. Oh no, actually they changed it. I was gonna say group. They had it not too long ago where you can actually link your chat to your group, but Facebook's not doing that. But
yeah, Facebook's stupid.
Anyway, it is. Where's Mark Zuckerberg when you need him?
Right.
Crazy. All right, ladies, well, I'll let you go. Thank you so much for getting on. I'm glad that this was helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks,
Bye.
Patty.
All right.
Bye.